Welcome back to Inside Criminal Minds, the series dedicated to dissecting the actions of the Behavioral Analysis Unit, catching serial killers. If you are new to the series, there's a link in the description down below for a playlist to catch you up. This episode begins with a former BAU agent, Max Ryan, lecturing about the Keystone Killer, who was kind of the killer that got away from Max, which Max does write a book on this unsub, and the killer would taunt the police and also used an intricate knot to bind his victims, and all of a sudden the murders just stopped, leaving many to believe he was captured, moved away, or died. And all of the theories didn't hold water. Next we see Ryan signing autographs and talking to Gideon when a security guard gives Ryan another letter that turns this ice-cold case to burning hot. Ryan attacks someone who he believes is the killer, but Gideon and the security guard calm him down, but Gideon believes Ryan about the Keystone Killer coming back due to the licenses of the past victims. Next we see the BAU circle the wagons in the middle of the night and they talk about Ryan's accomplishments. Then they meet Ryan and he is very defensive of this case. However, Gideon goes over what they know so far. And this is where Reed uses his eidetic memory and exceptional IQ to find every word on the word search left by the killer as a signature, picking up on the gray wool sock and black bra, both worn by the victim when they were found. He also finds an allusion to murders that, to our knowledge, haven't been done yet, when they talk about the change in MO, but Ryan dismisses the claims that this killer was still doing his killing without anyone noticing. And the killer also went to the press over the latest victim. Ryan does tag along in order to use his expertise on the case, and on the plane they realize that the differences didn't stop with the way they were killed, but also in the display of their victims, using flex cuffs instead of the ropes previously utilized. And while discussing the case, Ryan dismisses Morgan's theory that they have a copycat on their hands, and Morgan does bring up a good point to Gideon that Ryan may overstep his boundaries. When they land, Gideon, Elle, and Ryan go over the victim, and Ryan snaps at Elle for something that she was trying to remind the facts of the case. Also, he dismisses Elle's ideas, putting her on the edge. Then we see JJ attempt to curb the media as Reed and Hodge talk about Ryan and what they could learn.
I think we could learn a lot from him.
What could you possibly learn that you don't already know?
Hodge, repetitive thinking is a death knell for the brain. For complete brain usage, diverse stimulation is the key.
Next, they find another word search with a quote from Ryan's book.
I used this specific quote
In your book on page 184. I read it on the plane.
And you remember the page number of the quote?
Don't ask.
They get info that another kill will happen in 2 days. When they get back to police headquarters, they go over the profile. And while giving the profile, Gideon tries to give Ryan the limelight, but gets snubbed by Ryan as he steps away. Gideon then follows Ryan, and they talk about the team and the clues they found. The team discuss the differences of the case, and Morgan, trying to gain a fresher perspective, says that we should look at this unsub as if he was a brand new unsub. But Gideon stops it in an uncharacteristic style, because normally Gideon likes fresh ideas. And I think this was more of the influence of Agent Ryan being there. However, Reed finds a name in the word search, Scott Harbin, and Ryan dismisses him and gets even more defensive when Morgan tries to get information on the potential unsub. Still, Morgan gets his rap sheet from Garcia in order to completely absolve Scott as the Keystone Killer. And due to a missed parole hearing, they have the right to arrest him and search his house. During the search, they find a lot of circumstantial evidence pointing to him being the unsub, and then Scott makes a remark and Elle becomes slightly unhinged, showing a chink in her armor that will be damaged in the coming episodes, and this is a good use of foreshadowing. Gideon, being the great leader he is, checks on Elle to make sure that she's okay. Meanwhile, Hotch and Morgan are searching the bedroom and find Scott's victim hidden under the bed. However, Scott is just a red herring, both through the profile and the letter placed on the FBI's SUV. When they get back to police headquarters, they go over Scott and the Keystone, figuring that he didn't change his MO due to choice. It had to be something out of his control. So the team pull medical records to try to find someone who fits the profile and was horrifically injured. JJ does give a press conference that provides the profile to the masses, but she gets derailed by questions of the media and one of the victim's family members. But JJ knows how to do her job in a fantastic form, even with reporters attacking Ryan's ability to accurately do his job. Next, we see Ryan and Elle talk about the media and if Ryan is a scapegoat in this investigation if it fails, and goes in depth about his retired lifestyle that is more prevalent at the end of the episode. Morgan then tries to dismiss the stroke theory due to his age, and Gideon gives Ryan a pep talk and also shows great loyalty to his team in one full swoop. Next, Reed infers that the accident may have been a car accident, and with the use of Garcia, they find 6 potential victims of car crashes, and one of them, the guy, was in an accident in front of the latest victim, who is Walter Kern, alluding to him being the Keystone, and he also worked with Scott installing security systems. They find his address and everyone goes to find him, and the director did a great job of misdirection by having the Keystone at the door of his next victim and the FBI at Walter's door. Gideon and Ryan then meet with Walter's wife. Meanwhile, Walter is subduing his next victim. Ryan asks the wife to search the house and try to find out his next victim, looking at his pictures, when Reed uses his memory to look at the words on the word search and deduce the Keystone kept the same victims, but due to the accident he couldn't follow through. And this is a small thing. While Walter is threatening the victim, the sound of a gun cocking happens, but the hammer stays down. It's just kind of interesting that they left that in. The FBI does show up to the victim's house after seeing her picture in the scrapbook. And just in the nick of time, the team find Walter about to strangle his victim, and Morgan subdues him. And Gideon allows Ryan to cuff Walter, giving Ryan some closure of this case. As they fly home, Ryan tells old stories of Gideon, and Elle talks about how this job requires 100% dedication, and even asks Hotch about his family and how he deals with the job and the responsibilities of a father and husband, which he then says he gives the group in front of him 100%, but this could also be foreshadowing his family problems later in the series. This episode was a great way of showing the team's willingness to ingratiate another person on the team. It started off rough at first, but became a lot better towards the end. And I would like to add that this episode should be watched twice, because at the book signing and at Scott's house, we get a glimpse of the killer in the background, showing incredible attention to detail, and it did end with a bittersweet conversation about the BAU as a career. Rarely brought up in series like this. Thank you for watching. If you would like to see a spy's life after he gets fired, click the link in the description to watch my other series, Burn Notice. And as always, please like, share, and subscribe.